Nights at Freddy's is one of the most popular and beloved games of all time. And chances are you've at least seen a FNAF video, seen the movies, or maybe you've played one of the games for yourself. Either way, we all know Five Nights at Freddy's is two things: scary and difficult.
Oh my god!
And I mean like really difficult. Some people spend hours or even days just trying to beat one of these games. I myself have only ever beaten the first game, and that was over 3 years ago now. So I think it's time for a quick refresher. This is how I beat every Five Nights at Freddy's Max mode.
Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god!
This challenge is going to be split into 3 parts. Part 1 being Five Nights at Freddy's 1, 2, and 3. Part 2 being Five Nights at Freddy's 4, Sister Location, and Pizzeria Simulator. And Part 3, the last and most difficult challenge, Ultimate Custom Night. And now that we know how this challenge is going to work, let's go over the rules. Rule number 1. Not only do I need to beat each of these games, but I need to understand them. I can't just not know what I'm doing and luck my way through. I need to learn exactly how the AIs in each game work so that I know what I'm doing. Rule number 2. I may not abuse any glitches to make the games easier. This means things like the -3 strat in FNAF 2 or FGP flipping in FNAF 3 will not be allowed. And rule number 3. I may not use any outside programs or anything to help me that is not already in the game, such as a timer or anything of the sort. I must use only what the game has given to me to beat it. Now that we have our rules in place, let's get straight into the first game, Five Nights at Freddy's 1. In FNAF 1, we have to deal with 4 animatronics. First, we have Freddy. Freddy will sit on camera 4B and come into your office if you ever switch off of his camera with your door open. This means that the only way you can check other cameras is by closing your right door before you open the cameras. Then, we have Bonnie and Chica. Bonnie and Chica will just come up to your left or right door, and all you have to do is close the door until they leave to deal with them. Then you have Foxy. Foxy is probably the most complex and difficult to deal with animatronic in FNAF 1. This is because Foxy sits in Pirate's Cove and has 4 stages that he will progress through over time. You can make him remain in each stage for longer by opening your cams, but once he reaches stage 4, you only have about 25 seconds before he will come to your door. If your left door is not closed when he gets there, then you will be jump scared. But if the door is closed, then he will knock and then teleport back to Pirate's Cove and start in either stage 1 or 2 again. The first few nights of Five Nights at Freddy's 1 are really just boring and there's not that much to talk about. So I'm just going to skip forward a little bit. The first challenge that we have to face in Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is Night 5. At the time, my strategy was very simple. I would flip up my cams and check out Pirate's Cove to see how far Foxy was. And then I would look at the stage to see if Freddy was there. If Bonnie and Chica were already off the stage at this point, I would check the dining room before I went back onto Pirate's Cove. If I didn't see anyone in the dining room, then I knew I needed to check their door light. Once Freddy was off the stage, I would then just switch between Pirate's Cove and camera 4B. I never really had Freddy come to my door on this night, but it always seemed like Bonnie and Chica would stay at my door forever, and I would often just lose because I ran out of power too early. After a few tries, I would get a good attempt where Bonnie and Chica rarely came to my door, and Freddy never even left the stage. This would lead to a win, and I would then move on to Night 6. On Night 6, I would use the exact same strategy as Night 5. Night 6 and Night 5 were pretty similar, however at around 5 AM Freddy would show up at my door. This meant that every time I wanted to check on Pirate's Cove, I would have to close my right door before opening the cams. This would use a lot of power, but luckily I still had some left over from managing it well for the rest of the night. I would end up beating Night 6 on my very first try, and move on to the 420 mode. For a while, I would just try the same strategy I did on Night 5 and 6. However, due to the night being much faster paced, I would often end up making a mistake and just die. I knew I needed to change something. This is when I discovered the two most important things for beating Five Nights at Freddy's 1. First is that you don't actually need to look at Foxy to stall him out. All you have to do is have your cams open. This meant if I checked my cameras often enough, the only cam I would have to check the whole night is camera 4B, and Foxy would never even be able to get out of Pirate's Cove. The second thing I learned is that Chica will always go through camera 4B before entering your office door. Once you see that Chica has left cam 4B, check your right door light. If she's not there, then you can go back to only checking cam 4B in the left door. With this information and about an hour of attempts, I was able to complete the night. Now you might have noticed that beating Five Nights at Freddy's 1 wasn't that much of a struggle. And you'd be completely correct. It even got me wondering, how hard could this challenge really possibly be? Five Nights at Freddy's 2 has one of the most annoying max modes to complete out of any of the mainline FNAF games. Before I show you the strategies I used to beat this game, let's go over the animatronics. I'm going to split the animatronics in FNAF 2 into 3 separate groups, based on how hard I think they are to deal with. First, in Easy, we have Withered Freddy, Withered Bonnie, Withered Chica, Toy Freddy, and Golden Freddy. The first 4 do basically the same exact thing. They'll enter your office and initiate a blackout. If your cams are up, they will pull them down. If you don't put your mask on in time, then you'll get jump scared. Golden Freddy will appear in your office after you go out of your cams. If you pull down your mask, he will immediately fade away. The reason I consider these 5 to be the easiest to deal with is because as long as you flip down your mask every time you exit the cams, you can deal with all 5 of them at the same exact time. The medium animatronics are Balloon Boy, Toy Chica, and Mangle. To deal with these animatronics, you have to pull down your mask for 5 seconds. The reason why I consider these 3 to be more difficult than the first 5 is because they require extra time and flashlight battery to deal with. As for the hard animatronics, we have Foxy, Toy Bonnie, and the Marionette. Foxy will attack from the hallway and will jump scare you if you don't flash him often enough. Toy Bonnie will attack from the right vent and you'll have to pull down your mask until he finishes his blackout animation. While Bonnie may just seem like any other vent animatronic, he is actually the sole reason why this challenge is so difficult. This is because Bonnie decides how long he's going to wait at the vent before starting his blackout animation based on RNG. This means that one unlucky Bonnie encounter could result in losing the run because of Foxy or the Marionette. To defend the Marionette, all you have to do is keep your music box wound up. If the music box runs out, you have a few seconds before the Marionette will jump scare you. While individually, none of these 3 animatronics are really that bad, they become difficult when you combine all 3 of them. If you're not lucky enough, chances are you'll have at least one situation where it's just impossible to win. So cooked. Now, let's see how I use this information to formulate strategies throughout the nights. Just having a basic understanding of how each animatronic worked was enough to help me get through the first 5 nights without a problem. I didn't even really have to change anything to make it through night 6 either. All it took was being a little bit more precise and a little bit more accurate with what I did. It took a little while, but I did just kind of brute force this night. Let's talk about the strategies that I've been using up to this point and explain exactly why they will not work on the max mode. My strategy before I knew what I know now was this. Wind up the music box for a few seconds, pull down my mask, check both vents, and flash the hallway. If somebody was in my office, I would pull down my mask and wait until they left and then resume my cycle as usual. Now you might be wondering, what would I do if there was somebody in one of my vents after a blackout had happened? Well, nothing. I didn't have any plan. I kinda just hoped that I wouldn't get put in any tough situations, but this was not gonna work on 1020 mode. I needed to find some way to optimize my strategy. Now you might be wondering, why didn't I check the left vent? And how was Toy Bonnie gone? Well, before you can understand that, I need to explain a few things that I left out earlier. Well, the vent animatronics do leave after 5 seconds with your mask on. Nothing says you can't deal with them at the same time as a blackout. The blackout animation lasts about 4.25 seconds. So if you just wait 3/4 of a second after every blackout before taking off your mask, you'll never have to check the left vent unless there's no blackout. And as for the 3 hardest animatronics, the Marionette, Foxy, and Toy Bonnie, here's some ways you can deal with them better. Now, when Bonnie's at your vent, these are 2 things I like to do to make my life easier. If I know my music box is going to run out in the next 6 seconds or so, I'll wind it up for 1 to 2 ticks and then go back out and then pull down my mask to deal with Bonnie. If I'm more worried about Foxy than the Marionette right now, I'll flip down my mask and then pull it off and flash Foxy a few times and then repeat this over and over again until Toy Bonnie does the blackout while my mask is down. Now surely I thought this was enough to beat the game. I mean, it's just a matter of time, right? I would rapid fire 1020 attempts for hours just trying to figure out how to perfect my strategy. No matter what I did, I couldn't even get past 3 AM. I thought it was hopeless. But then this happened. Something about this run was just different. I wouldn't even be able to replicate it for a few hours of attempts. Although hitting 5 AM for the first time would give me a huge confidence boost, I would find myself feeling hopeless again after not even getting a good attempt for the whole rest of the day. But I wasn't going to give up. I watched the recording back, and when I tell you I studied every movement I made, every decision, every little subtlety, because that's how badly I wanted to win. And I knew it wouldn't take any less effort than that. Now at this point in the run, I'm extremely nervous, and I'm put in one of the toughest situations possible, but I've been here before.
Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god!
I had never felt more confident in my life. 5 Nights at Freddy's 2 was over. But my journey wasn't. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 is unique in a way that you wouldn't expect. It has only one animatronic. Well, one lethal animatronic, I should say. So, like, this game is basically just free, I guess. Wait, Night 2 took me 4 tries? I'm not gonna lie, at first this game made no sense at all. I mean, this is what they had me looking like on Night 2, bro. Like, what am I even doing? I think a brick wall could have reacted to Balloon Boy faster than that, bro. So I need to learn how to beat this game, and I need to learn fast. So I'm going to quickly list all the things you need to know to beat FNAF 3. In FNAF 3, you have a camera system and a system restart menu. Your system restart menu can be used to fix any errors you have throughout the night, such as a camera or audio error. Camera errors make it so you can't see on the cams, and audio errors or make it so you can't use audio lures, which I'll explain in a second. Springtrap is the main protagonist, and you must track him through the cameras and close any vents that he's near so you can stop him from progressing towards your office. You can also use audio lures to bring him into a camera adjacent to the one he's currently in. However, this does not work 100% of the time. If you can't keep Springtrap away from your office and he gets in, you will die. Phantom BB can spawn on cams 1, 7, 9, and 10. If you don't switch your cams or lower your monitor in time, you'll be jump scared and get a ventilation error, which will make Springtrap more aggressive and you'll die if you don't fix it. This applies to any time you get a ventilation error. Phantom Chica works the same way, except she only spawns on cam 7. Phantom Foxy can appear on the left side of your office and will jump scare you when you look at him. Turn slowly, and if you see him go back in and out of your cams, then he will disappear. If he jump scares you, you will get a ventilation error. Phantom Freddy has a chance to appear walking across your window every time an hour passes. If you are outside your cams or the restart menu for too long, while he's walking across, you will see him duck down and you will be jump scared, causing a ventilation error. Phantom Puppet will spawn in Cam 8, and if you look at it for too long, it will appear in your office and block you from performing any actions until he leaves, and you will get a ventilation error. Phantom Mangle will appear on Cam 4, and if you look at him for too long, he will appear in your office window playing a loud sound and will also give you an audio error. And time. Hey, 120, not bad. Okay, we're gonna apply what we've learned and actually beat some nights. Well, I might have forgot that I need the good ending. Well, now that we can finally unlock the hardest mode, I guess it's time to start on night 6. In night 6, the most important thing is making sure you use your audio lures wisely. On top of that, you also have to be able to tell where Springtrap is at all times. If you lose track of him, he can get through a vent and into your office in only a few seconds. On most nights, you can even get a ventilation error and get away with it, but on night 6 and Aggressive Nightmare, you really have to make sure you don't get a ventilation error, otherwise you could lose. After I could consistently deal with all the phantom animatronics, I was able to beat it relatively easily. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, there isn't even really much to say about Aggressive Nightmare. I kinda just tried it for like an hour and wasn't really getting anywhere, but then I just kinda fluked it from like 2 AM, bro. I'm still gonna make a montage like it was hard though.
That was so good. I'm fucking insane. Let's go. Bro, he didn't even get to the office.
And with that, the first part of the challenge comes to a close. Now I'm sorry if the ending of this video may seem a little bit underwhelming because FNAF 2 is so much harder than FNAF 3, but I promise the challenges in the next video are gonna get way, way more difficult. But besides the fact that FNAF 3 was pretty easy, I really hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video as much as I did enjoy making it. If you're still here and you watched the video all the way through and you enjoyed it and you want to see the next part, I would appreciate it if you'd leave a like, and if you subscribe you'll get notified when the next part comes out so you won't miss it. And yeah, thanks. Peace.